Business Strategy Assignment 2, Team Case Study Presentation by Julie Davies, Nathan Bricknell and Usman Khan. Our objective is to present a strategy for Coca-Cola Amatil that positions the business in a way that safeguards current value sources and investing in future values and growth whilst building a brand equity. This presentation looks at ways to create value for customers while also finding ways to be unique and hard to imitate in the marketplace. I'll present the background and the need for a new strategic plan. Nathan will present the identified challenges, and Usman will present the potential options and the recommendations. In Australia, Coca-Cola Amatil currently holds over 80% of the cola market share and 50% of sports drinks. The other drink lines are all below 50% of market share. Consumer tastes are changing, and shifts in non-alcoholic ready-to-drink or NARTD beverages are causing economic risks for Coca-Cola Amatil, as are the geopolitical risks associated with regulatory interventions that will likely place additional pressure on the organisation. These include the container deposit schemes, potential sugar and plastic taxes, as governments are seeking new sources of revenue, with the continued focus on litter and obesity issues. A primary driver for consumers is the health wellness concerns around sugar and artificiality, which is shifting consumer preferences towards low or no kilojoule products. This trend has instigated Woolworths refusing to sell Coca-Cola No Sugar. Sales in the highly concentrated soft drink market have been declining in Australia for more than 10 years, and people are opting for water instead. Bottled water now accounts for more than 1/4 of the NARTD beverages market in grocery stores, and this is up from 14% 5 years ago. In Australia, there's less demand for carbonated drinks and more demand for other non-carbonated beverages categories like water, energy shots and dairy. The graph shows the growth of products sold by Coca-Cola Amatil, with the highest growths in energy drinks, dairy juice, traditional water and enhanced water. The Australian Bureau of Statistics has found that 92% of children drink water per day and 86% of adults. The company believes that their success depends on their ability to connect with the consumers by providing them with a wide variety of choices to meet their needs, wants and demands and the changes in their lifestyle. And this SWOT analysis highlights the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats to the Coca-Cola brand and consumption of their products. Having a strong brand value, extensive distribution and loyalty allows the opportunities to be identified and enables the company to grow into those areas, whilst reducing the weaknesses and threats in their brand equity, especially with regards to raw material sourcing and water scarcity. Utilising Porter's generic strategies, it will enable Coca-Cola Amatil to broaden their uniqueness by differentiation, focus on healthy products, meet customer demands and avoid losing their market share. Utilising Porter's value chain analysis to ascertain costs, it will assist them in identifying which activities are the most valuable or give a differentiation advantage to the firm and which ones will be improved to provide a competitive advantage. The company's own values suggest that the organisation is passionate about setting itself up for the future and is aware of the potential impact it can have on society. As the significant movement of consumers away from sugary carbonated drinks and pestle factors such as government regulation cause impact to revenue, it paints a dire future for Coca-Cola Amatil if they don't allocate resources appropriately, identify opportunities and gain a corner of the changing market. Currently, marketing efforts may not be reflective of where the organisation needs to be focusing their energies. They need to continue promoting their soft drink brands, but also invest in trending categories that may also be durable, meaning that there is need to ensure the cash cow is not ignored. Utilising the BCG matrix to ascertain stars, cash cows, dogs and question marks, Coca-Cola Amatil can then differentiate themselves from their competitors and help design a long-term strategic plan to assist them in considering growth opportunities, what products to develop or discontinue, and assist them in deciding where to invest, where and how to advertise, market shares and what is draining resources. I now hand over to Nathan to continue with the challenges.
Thank you, Julie. Coca-Cola Amatil operates in an environment that is experiencing constant rapid change. These shifting trends are characterized within the context of alterations in consumer tastes. This change is underscored by the rise in market participation of millennials. By 2025, the cohort will comprise 75% of the global workforce. The introduction of this new demographic will serve to shift the attributes that make up demand of carbonated soft drinks, thus creating a pattern of disruption in the sector. These alterations are further underpinned by greater levels of consumer knowledge in healthier choices, thus creating a reduction in global sales of carbonated soft drinks and an increase of sales in healthier alternatives. Coca-Cola represents a majority of the market share of the domestic functional beverage market. The organization's market share in the health drinks is, however, lower and continues to be eroded by private label brands. As the trend to healthier choices gathers pace, the business's relative market share has been exposed to a growing degree of risk. As revenue for the sector is forecasted to grow at an annualized rate of 3.9% over the next 5 years, the organization is not positioned to take advantage of these growth opportunities. This view is supported by Coke underinvesting in the development of new products, and with the emergence and agility of new rivals, the changing competitive landscape of the historical market dominance of Coca-Cola seems tentative. As a means to connect with the market, Coca-Cola have allocated 36.5% of the marketing budget to the organization's soft drinks, 25% to the drinks with no sugar, of which 12% represents the health-related functional beverage segments. While external competitive forces place strain on the organization's competitive position, it is in the firm's inability to understand the structural underlying drivers of profitability that succeeds competitive position to emerging competitors. While the organization has attempted to reposition existing brands as healthier versions of previous products, it has not been able to succeed in leveraging brand equity to realize a competitive position in the health-related functional beverage market space. The iconic brand in recent years has struggled to stay connected with its target market. Millennials are drawn to products that are authentic, unique, and innovative. They are socially conscious, informed, connected, and have grown up with the internet. This environment has placed digital advertising as having the most influence over brand perception. The marketing allocation has seen the organization focus 46% of their communication efforts on TV advertising and 4% on digital advertising. The organization faces two glaring issues. The first is the business has focused on soft drinks in face of declining consumer demand. This focus seems to be at the expense of developing the organization's health-related beverage segment. The second issue is found in the lack of attention to distribution channels that are used to communicate to its target market. While the introduction of technology has the ability to enable the organization to cut production costs and introduce a competitive standing, the result in changes of the introduction of new technology has not placed the organization in a position to take advantage of shifting trends. The political environment further exposes the organization to external risks, including legislation in association to the environment, public health, new taxation laws, and increases in power prices. For example, the Australian Medical Association are currently lobbying federal government to use tax laws as an instrument to change consumer behavior and attitude towards sugar-sweetened drinks. I will now hand over time to Usman.
Thank you, Nathan. Having established a background into our organisation, as well as having a look at some of the challenges that our organisation will face in the not too distant future, it's time now to turn our attention towards some of the options that we have in front of us to help make sure that our business remains healthy going into the future. Our first option to kickstart growth is to divest completely out of sugary drinks. While this may seem a little outlandish, a move such as this by an organisation like Coca-Cola Amatil is not without precedent. Many organisations recently have made the commitment to exiting markets that are considered harmful to either their customers or to the broader population. Such a move offers a potential for great PR which could help the company's reputation, while the principle of scarcity may actually help lift sales for current brands in the short term. Our second option is to go the other way and actually reposition sugary soft drinks. Traditionally, soft drinks have been marketed as the sort of product that consumers could enjoy every day. Our option would see us focus less on everyday consumption, but actually focus more greatly on drinking occasions such as social gatherings or parties, which may allow us to position soft drinks as an alternative to alcoholic drinks. There are a number of examples of organisations that have repositioned their range of products either from a functional point of view or to a new audience successfully. Two examples we'd like to call out in this presentation are Old Spice and Stella Artois. Old Spice was considered an old-fashioned men's grooming brand that had little relevance to a Gen Y consumer. Through marketing efforts and packaging design, Old Spice has successfully repositioned its range of shaving creams and other accessories to both boost sales and increase the value of the brand. Stella Artois was once considered a base-level beer that carried some negative social connotations. By repositioning where the product was available, the sorts of sporting events it was associated with, as well as how the beer is presented and served on premise, it has successfully repositioned itself as a premium beer. These two examples show that with a bit of thought and some marketing effort, brands can reinvent themselves. Our third option is to consolidate the lifeblood of the business today while setting up the business for tomorrow. This would involve us slowly start to invest our marketing and product development resources into growth categories such as water or juice categories without significantly impacting on the lifeblood of the business. To find an example of a business that has successfully implemented a similar strategy, we can look at the way that the Disney business has evolved over the years. What started out as an animation company has slowly evolved into an all-round entertainment powerhouse. It has operations in categories such as TV shows, music, gaming, theme parks, as well as retail. By keeping track of how the demands and preferences of its core audiences were evolving, Disney managed to expand to areas that helped it meet these needs. It achieved this, however, without ceasing its original business, but to rather use its original businesses as a base to build all subsequent offers. Coca-Cola Amatil could conceivably achieve the same result due to the sheer power of its soft drink business. Having laid out the three potential options for growth for Coca-Cola Amatil, let's now turn our attention towards analysing all three to eventually find the best strategy to move forward. Let's look at the first option that we presented, divesting out of sugary soft drinks. While other brands have managed to divest out of key categories, this can often be a slow process. In the food and beverage arena, consumer tastes have changed now, so it may actually already be too late to shift out of current categories without some sort of short-term plan. Soft drinks still form the lion's share of Coca-Cola Amatil's revenue, and this category is coming off such a high base that it is likely to be the largest component of overall business for the foreseeable future. What we want to avoid killing the goose that lays the golden egg. And as such, our best strategy is to probably find new categories to enter without harming our current lifeblood. Now let's look at the second option we presented, which would see us reposition our soft drinks into new areas and consumption occasions. Coca-Cola Amatil's soft drink brands have such a legacy that in order to achieve this repositioning would require a huge investment and may have very little chance of success. Looking at other categories such as drinks mixes, these are already very crowded with successful companies that are going to be difficult to dislodge. The marketing resources required for such a monumental shift would place a huge strain on the business, a strain which may prove to be unnecessary if an alternate, effective strategy is available. The other issue is around the strength of public perception. The movement is so strong against sugary drinks and unhealthy categories that it may actually be futile to try and change the image of the soft drink category. Our final strategy saw us propose that we consolidate today to build for tomorrow. This would involve us allocating a set percentage of resources currently allocated or raised by the soft drink business to invest in and build offerings in growing categories. This approach has a number of benefits, and as such, is the one we would like to finally recommend. Firstly, it allows the business to maintain its leadership in the key soft drink category. Secondly, it allows the business to phase into growth categories while minimising disruption on current operations. Finally, it allows the business to build brand credibility in these growth areas. Brand credibility can sometimes take years and generations to build. In order to be ready for these new categories, footholds must be established now. Implementing this strategy would see us leverage the BCG matrix to assist our planning and execution. Our proposal would see us leverage a set percentage of resources currently allocated to brands such as Coca-Cola or Sprite and allocate it to growth categories such as water, juice, sports and health drinks. Initially though, we would recommend that the investment be used for research purposes so that a direction can be established for future commercial applications. Having now landed on a set strategic direction that we believe will best serve Coca-Cola, we'd now like to make some immediate recommendations for activities and actions that the brand and the business can take. Now, before delving into the actual recommendations we're making for the Coca-Cola Amatil business, we would like to spend just a little bit of time explaining the methodology we applied to our thinking. Firstly, we took the challenges that Nathan outlined in his section of the presentation, namely the changing consumer demand around soft drinks, the current marketing focus of the Coca-Cola Amatil business, as well as some technological and political changes that the industry is bound to encounter in the coming years, and placed these against the strategy that we have recommended. Our ideas that came out of this process, we feel, apply our strategy to ultimately meet the identified challenges. Our first recommendation is focused on the internal structure of the business. Coca-Cola Amatil invests a lot of resources in both customer insights as well as product development. We would recommend merging these two parts of the business to form one large department that is in charge of keeping up with the changing customer trends, as well as developing offers, be they drinks, ways of serving drinks, or other commercial activities, to meet these changing trends. There are a number of benefits to the business of pursuing this course of action. Firstly, it will drive efficiencies internally. While we have no doubt that the business has a solid internal communications process, by merging these two teams, we can actually drive more effective communication between two key parts of the business. Secondly, we would envisage a tighter direction and agenda for the business. With these two teams working as one, the objectives that drive activities as well as the recommendations and actions that come out as a result can be better defined. Ultimately, this will lead to a greater leadership across the business. Finally, it allows Coca-Cola Amatil to remain at the forefront of cultural trends. The brands that the business owns have a legacy of being cultural icons. This only happens with having a tight connection and relevance to the society in which brands exist. The aligning of these departments will more closely to cultural trends gives us the best shot at continuing to establish brands that play the same role in new categories. Our second recommendation relates to the way the business allocates its marketing budget. As Nathan has shown when he highlighted some of the challenges that the business will face, Coca-Cola Amatil is currently underinvesting in key growth categories, while Julie told us that the business, while still being the dominant player in soft drinks, is actually one of the smaller players in key growth areas. We would recommend allocating a set percentage of marketing budget from legacy brands to invest in developing in little brother brands. As highlighted in our third strategic option, our objective for Coca-Cola Amatil is to build a profitable tomorrow without disrupting success today. Brands such as Coke and Sprite are coming off a huge base. However, our analysis shows that reinvesting these funds back into these brands is actually the equivalent of driving down a dead-end road. This strategy would see us, over a set period of time, build little brother brands to one day eventually take over from big brother brands. This can be achieved in an orderly and measured approach if started today and will negate the risk of having to panic later on. To draw a picture of success, we would see in 20 years' time Coca-Cola Amatil still being the market leader in soft drinks while also being number one in the main categories of the time, namely hybrid waters, sports drinks and juices. Our final recommendation for the Coca-Cola Amatil business is using the scale of the business to leverage the success of others. There are a number of businesses already doing quite well in growth categories. Brands such as Boost Juice or Emma and Tom's have established footholds in these categories. Coca-Cola Amatil can leverage the presence of companies such as these and actually help to grow these brands with the manufacturing and distribution credentials of our own business. The relationships with retailers can also help brands establish more profitable and efficient relationships in market, leading to better shelf space, more friendly trading terms, and ultimately better commercial results. The other main advantage for Coca-Cola Amatil is that this recommendation prevents the need for us to start from scratch in building new brands in categories we currently don't have a presence in. We'd like to thank you for watching this presentation and how we can help secure Coca-Cola Amatil's future. To wrap things up, here's a snapshot of the story so far. Firstly, we have established that Coca-Cola Amatil has a dominant position in a number of legacy categories. However, in growth categories, it is yet to establish a position of strength. Secondly, we know that consumer tastes are changing, with demand for sugar-based soft drinks diminishing and demand for products perceived as being healthy growing. However, our current marketing focus does not seem to reflect these changes, whether viewed through the lens of resource allocation or channel selection. There are also a number of political and technological changes that the business needs to start accounting for. As a result, we analysed 3 options for a future direction of the business, with our recommendation being to take a measured approach which will see us build a solid tomorrow using success today. The 3 recommended actions we have presented will help the business achieve this goal. Thank you once again for your time, and should you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Reference slide 1. Reference slide 2. Reference slide 3.